You're listening to the Chat City interviews from 103.2 Preston FM.
And you're with Chat City this morning. Now, signs are to be put up in the New Forest warning dog owners about a little-known disease that has killed 17 dogs across Britain in recent months. The Forestry Commission notices tell owners to take their pets to a vet should it develop lesions on its legs, paws or face. Vets say the disease, which leads to kidney failure, is most likely Alabama rot, which was first seen in the US in the 1980s, and the source of the disease is unknown. However, the Environment Agency has ruled out chemical contamination in water supplies. The majority of the dogs that has died in the past year were in the New Forest, but there are also others in Surrey, Cornwall, Worcestershire and County Durham. And the notice says owners should take their dog to a vet if the lesions appear a week after a walk. Just to talk more about this, I've got our resident Chat City vet, Ian Wright, on the phone right now. So Ian, a very good morning to you.
A very good morning to you too, Hughie.
So, rather sad news this, particularly for dog owners, and I'm sure quite worrying news for dog owners. Is there anything that we've had reported in this part of the country, or anything we know about, Ian?
No, well, first of all, I mean, it's awful, isn't it, for the poor people who've lost their pets in those parts of the country. But I just want to start off by putting the residents of Preston's mind at rest. I mean, there's been no cases up here yet at all. Sort of traditionally, if it turns out that it is Alabama rot, these cases tend to be restricted to dogs that spend a lot of time outdoors, or working dogs, that are out in the forest or the countryside. It's very difficult to give sort of good, accurate advice because we're still not certain what causes it. They still don't know. So, their suspicion has fallen on a bacteria called E. coli, which, we all know about, that can give us food poisoning that you can sometimes pick up off farms. But it's not that type of E. coli. It would be a very rare strain, if it is E. coli that they're coming into contact with. But we're just not sure, is the short answer.
Right. I mean, this one, of course, has hit the press. I think today it's been on most radio and TV stations. So it is in the media sphere at the moment. But I mean, every year, do we have things that come into the country that maybe don't get reported?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, gosh. I mean, dogs are bringing, well, as we've discussed in the past, dogs will bring in diseases from abroad, like leishmania and babesiosis that are transmitted by insects and bugs that we don't have in this country. But occasionally there are outbreaks of bacterial disease that are brought across as well. I mean, I think this has hit the news because it is killing dogs. Unfortunately, the disease starts off in the skin, but it causes something called a vasculitis, which is where the blood vessels become inflamed, and then it affects the kidneys, and that's what's so nasty about it. That's what's killing these dogs. But I think also, you have to put it in perspective. It's a terrible, terrible tragedy for the people who've lost their dogs, but 17 cases across even that part of the country is a very, very small proportion of dogs as a whole. So, I wouldn't want people to panic. It's certainly something to be aware of, but not something to panic about at this stage.
Because I do remember on one occasion you and I were talking at length about, and as soon as I began the sentence, I forgot what it was we were talking about, but it was about the possibility of when you take your dogs walking of tick lesions, isn't it? That there's also that kind of worry.
And this is something, you probably pick it up in a very similar way. I mean, we don't know whether this would be transmitted by ticks. Ticks transmit Lyme disease in this country, which is something to be aware of as well. I mean, that's much more common, actually. I mean, that's across the whole country. But we don't know what transmits this disease, but it does appear to be people who are going out into the countryside and into woodlands. It's starts off as nasty skin disease on the legs and the paws and the face. So, I mean, I can't stress enough, I don't think your little, sort of, townhouse pooch that doesn't go into the country very much is going to pick this disease up. But certainly anybody who's holidayed in these areas, in the New Forest, or County Durham, or sort of, down in Cornwall, south of England, and have been walking in the countryside, if their pets do develop nasty skin disease, don't panic. I mean, like I say, there are all sorts of things that can cause skin disease, but I would get your dogs straight to the vet and explain where you've been. And then, it'll just be flagged up at the back of their mind then.
And that is probably very good advice. And as you were saying, Ian, I know as a former pet owner, sadly not with a dog anymore, but I know if I'd have seen this kind of news, I would have worried about taking my dog out walking. But as you say, there are so many other things around that...
there are, and I mean, if you're ever worried, I mean, say, if your dog picks up a tick, or, if you think it might have come into contact with something, always just go down to your vet or give your vet a ring for some advice. But in this case, I mean, like I said, there hasn't been a single case in the county yet, never mind Preston. So, I don't want this to be preying on people's minds and them desperately checking their dogs for skin disease. It's more something to be aware of if you've travelled to these areas and then skin disease develops.
Lovely. Ian, can I thank you for taking time out once again to talk to us on Preston FM?
Oh, my pleasure. No problem at all.
And enjoy the remainder of your day.
Thank you. I'm going to go and do battle with the Hoover right now. Go and do some domestic chores, I think. But hello to the listeners, and I'll speak to you next month.
That's right. You will be on again quite soon. I shall look forward to that. And don't forget my advice, Ian. Don't panic when you press the button on the Hoover if it makes a loud noise. That's what.
I won't go fleeing into the next room. No, I'll be brave, Hughie. I'll be brave.
Yes, that's what Hoovers do, Ian. They make a loud noise when you push the button.
Thank you.
Thank
you for that good tip.
Have a lovely day, and see you soon, Ian. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.
Thanks for listening. If you've enjoyed today's interview, why not tweet Hughie at ChatCityPFM.